All right, let's do some question and answer. This is Stephen Williams, founder and president of the creditrepairshop.com. We're going to talk about some credit repair questions that people are asking me here on YouTube. Give you some quick answers on what you can do if you're facing some of these problems. We got one here where a person is asking about wage garnishment against me, but the personal info is incorrect. How do I go about it? Um, what I'm thinking this person is asking here is that maybe they sent it to the wrong address. If this is I'm going to answer it in several ways because I don't know exactly what they meant, but I think from what they wrote is that they maybe sent the request for the garnishment to come to court and answer for the garnishment to the wrong address. Maybe they moved or something and they don't have the correct address, and they're asking what can they do at that point. Well, if you know that you had the garnishment order and they know where your employer is, they're going to send that same garnishment order to your employer. So if you don't show up to court to fight or to try to get that garnishment lowered or to see if there's something that's not correct about the way that they're filing the garnishment, they're going to end up catching up with you through your job, and so that's the way that they're going to. Sorry about that. I had a brief interruption on something that I just had to take care of. But so if they just made a mistake on the address, they're going to end up getting to the. They're going to get to the job. They're going to seek out, look on the credit reports, or find some way during a public records search. And companies that do payroll, they also provide that information on where people work, or they can look on the credit reports, and they're going to get that to the company, and then the company will notify you that you're going to be garnished. And the problem with letting it get to that is that you give away your rights to fight the garnishment, and also it makes it harder to get the garnishment lowered because they're going to have an amount that they're going to be probably coming after. But you still, even at that point, there is a garnishment worksheet, and what I always tell clients to do, regardless of what your income is, every state has guidelines. Some states don't even allow garnishment. If you're in one of those states, you're lucky, like the state of Texas. But when you get the garnishment order, there's a worksheet that you can go through to make sure that they're garnishing you for the right amount of money. And then also there's some states call it a poverty guideline. Some states call it just straight up garnishment rules or guidelines. You need to make sure, depending on your dependents and a certain amount of income that they'll allow you to make, if you will even be able to be garnished. Let's see, the next one, we had a question. Where was it? Someone said that I was not clear about the freeze that you can get put on your LexisNexis. This is a strategy that a lot of people are using to stop public records from being validated from the three major credit reporting agencies. And this is what they do. They freeze their LexisNexis reports, and then they do the disputes with their credit reports with the credit reporting agencies, TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. And when they do the database search, because it's frozen, supposedly it's not going to be able to get the public records information. And I had stated that that worked some of the times, but if you go to LexisNexis, it clearly states that the freeze does not stop them from people that are members to access data. And that's what I was talking about in that video, that just because you put a freeze on it, what that freezes is that from any any agency that wants to come in there that's not a member to get your information, or if someone wants to run your credit that you gave permission to, and they happen to want to look up LexisNexis, they're not going to be able to. But anyone that is a member, a current member of LexisNexis, just because you put a freeze on there doesn't mean that they're not going to have access to the data that's on LexisNexis. Let's look at some more here. We had a person, let's see, college student. We had someone that talked about they had a loan. They went to one of those schools that ended up getting closed down, and they were like, "Well, what can I do about that? They're still coming after the money from me." And I had in another video. You can search here on YouTube, and you will love this video. You should like it if you haven't liked it, and you should like this video too. Please like this video. But I made a video about these schools that popped up. Remember Everest, the guy was yelling, "Hey, you go, what you doing sitting on the couch and this and that, and you need to get up and come to this online school, or even come to the school that they had down at some storefront school." That's what a lot of people was calling them. And what they were doing is these schools were just getting people to do loans, and then when they did loans, all of a sudden, a couple of years later, either they graduated and they wasn't able to get a job, so the promises wasn't what they were promised about getting a job, or the schools just outright closed. So what I told people to do in that video was the easy way to do it is to first you got to see if they're on that list. If you don't know if they're on that list, it's thousands of schools. I think it was like 15,000 back when I made that video. Go to the creditrepairshop.com, type in fraudulent schools. There should be a link. It's going to be an Excel file that has all of those schools. If it's on the list, all you have to do is simply write a letter. You do need to go to the Department of Education and get their documents that they want for fraudulent schools to make a claim. Well, in a way, it is to make a claim to say that you felt that you were defrauded by this school and that you think that this loan should be forgiven. If it's coming from the Department of Education, it will most likely be forgiven. If it was a private student loan, that was where the money was given from them, you could either get your money back for anything that you was paid. And on that video, there was a person that listened to what I said on that video, and they actually got the payments back. I think it was like 23 or 2,500 bucks in payments that they had made. But after following what I said to do in that video for fraudulent student loans, they ended up getting the money back. It was forgiven, and they were given the payments back that they made. And that person posted a comment on that video. So that's what you can do on that. Let's see what other questions we got. Someone said that I'm seem like I'm giving advice like Robert Kiyosaki, talking about thinking positive and let's see, it said to make your credit repair, or make the whole process of what you want in life, to make that like a habit, to make that like a habit. Someone just posted a comment on there, and then one of my clients posted something on here, just giving a shout out, and he was actually took one of the trade lines. I think he got 2 trade lines. Trade lines are booming. Trade lines do work if you want to get an instant boost to your score. But I always say that to really make the trade lines really work, you do need to get your credit up to a certain level where the negatives are minimized, and then you can do that. Because if you got a lot of negatives on there and then you put on a trade line, it's not going to jump up as much as it needs to. I had a client, he needed to get his scores over 700, has rental properties in Florida. He wanted to cash out. He has a property paid in full, 100%. Could not get a good interest rate because his credit scores are below 700. In 20 days, we got it over 700. Got the loan, got the money, and then he bought another rental property. Let's see here. Had some questions about court summons. If you do not show up to court and you have a court summons, you have to make sure that you get that paperwork and that you answer the summons. Just because you don't get it, you don't sign for it, that does not mean that everything just stops there. You have to show up to court on those court summons, and you have to do the answers, or you're going to end up having a default judgment against you. Let's see the next one here. Someone talked about co-signing. If you remember what I always say, never co-sign for someone. It just puts yourself into a bad situation. What I would do is just give them advice on how to get their credit score up, or to where they're going to have to get a loan and maybe they're going to have to pay more for that interest, but it'll let them build it up themselves. It'll also allow them to be more disciplined, because a lot of the people that we have that have co-signed, that came to us for credit repair, none of their stuff was messed up. It was only for what happened with the co-signing for someone else that didn't follow through with the payments that they were supposed to make, put them in a bad situation, and they end up screwing up their credit along with that person screwing up their own credit. Let's see here. Some people here, I had some bad comments about the 609, where I had talked about this gimmick that was going around. I don't see it too much anymore, but everybody talked about the 609 statute of the Fair Credit Reporting Act. It is a real statute, but but someone just made it into a gimmick, and everybody just fell into it. If you don't know about it, go to the Fair Credit Reporting Act and read it. It's basically saying that you have a right to validate any debt, any information on your credit report, but it's more about validating the debt that they're saying that you owe on your credit reports, which is the only reason why a lot of people would do it. But it's considered a validation process, and you validating that negative information, account numbers, if it's outdated, what I just talked about in the previous video, if incorrect account numbers, incomplete account numbers, all of that has to be validated. So even if you owe the debt, it still must be reporting a 100% accurate on your credit reports, or it has to come off your credit reports. And they were also saying that I had, they were kind of upset because I said a lot of some people that was in the building next door to me, they had got arrested for using, what they were doing is they were buying cars, and then they would use the strategy in the 609 by saying that it was ID theft. So I was like, you're crazy to think that you're going to get away with that. So they would go get cars at the dealer. They're using their own ID and everything to get the car and to get the loan. Then come back a month later, they sent in saying that they were a victim of ID theft. And I was like, and they were like, we got the car for free. And I was like, you're dumb to be thinking that way. And some people were saying that that whatever they were doing was legal, or that it was a good strategy to use to be able to get out of paying the car. Well, they came and they arrested all of them. So that's what I had put in that video, and some people had called me all type of names for talking about that. So we'll be ending the video here. If you need help with your credit, please go to thecreditrepairshop.com. If you don't have your credit reports and scores, go to 3 scores.com. Get those credit reports. If you get them from my website, I'll always do a free review to tell you what I would do if you were one of our customers. Go to thecreditrepairshop.com if you need help with your credit. Please like the videos. I'm learning that if you like the videos, it just helps the algorithm for the videos. I really appreciate it. Post your comments. If you notice, I fight through every day to answer every comment that is legitimate. I don't answer some of the ones that are people just trying to argue with me. Unless it's something that's on the merit of something, I will answer it. I really appreciate your time, and please subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed to it. We have some great videos, and I have some, if you haven't checked out my series on getting out of debt in 2020, that is a very good series. I'm on part 3. We're going to be doing part 4 pretty soon, and that is an excellent way if you are having trouble with debt If you just use those strategies that I put in there, it will help you get out of debt. These are strategies that my wife and I use. All right, we'll be ending it there. And until next time, this is Stephen Williams, founder and president of the CreditRepairShop.com. Thank you.